فصل في الحث على طلب العلم والعمل والتعليم واطلب علوم الدين وارقى إلى اليقين فالعلم قوت القلب فيه رضاء الرب.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Inshallah, we are going to read the book from the book of fasting from Kitab Safinah an-Naja, the book of Safinah an-Naja. And today, inshallah, we are going to read lesson number 5, which we will talk about expiation, kafara, and we are going to talk about abstinence, which is imsak. So in this chapter, the author says, فصل ويجب مع القضاء للصوم الكفارة العظمى, which means it is compulsory. Major kafara, expiation, kafara, which means to expiate the sin that you did, and specified punishment are compulsory together with making up the fast. والتعزير, which means the punishment, على من أفسد صومه في رمضان يوما كاملا, for the person who breaks their fast of Ramadan a complete day, by بجماع تام آثم به, by having complete intercourse in which he becomes sinner in his fast. So this expiation, this kafara, becomes compulsory, but with certain conditions. One of it is that the kafara becomes compulsory for the doer only, not the person being done upon. So usually in this case we are talking about the husband more than the wife, for example. Also that this kafara, it becomes compulsory also if the person did this intentional, not under duress, and is conscious, aware that aware about his doing, that he is fasting actually, and that he is doing this, and that this thing is actually breaks the fast. And knowing, he realizes that he knows that it is not allowed to actually have sexual intercourse in the morning of Ramadan. So these are some of the things that actually causes the expiation to become compulsory. Other things also include that when he broke his fast, he did not intend to break it with an excuse. So for example, if a person with an excuse, a traveler for example, he says, I intend to not fast today because I have an excuse, I am traveling, so there is no kafara for this person. This kafara, what is this kafara, this expiation? This kafara is 3 things in order, which means you have to do the first thing first. If you are unable, then you do the second thing. If you are unable, then you do the third thing. The first thing is freeing a slave. If the person have a slave, or you can afford to buy a slave, then you buy a slave and you free that slave. So this is the first expiation. Nowadays, alhamdulillah, there is you can say almost there are no more slaves in this world. Literally speaking, slaves, literally slaves, you can find, but there are people who are worse than slaves nowadays. In Islam, yes, there were slaves. But as you can see here, slaves are actually encouraged to be freed. So the reality is that slaves have been in almost every culture. It is very unheard of to find a culture that have no slaves. But in Islam, you look that you find that actually Islam encourages in many ways, not just this one. There are many expiations, many encouragement to free a slave. So the first one is freeing a slave. If you can't find, like our time now, then it is fasting 2 months straight, continuously. This fasting continuously, it has to be 2 months straight. So if you stop during the 60 days, then you have to start anew. You have to start from the beginning. Maybe one day you became sick, or you just forgot to intend, and so that day does not count. Now you have to start again. Even though you have fasted, for example, 50 days, now you have to start anew. You are still rewarded for that 50 days. The reward doesn't go away, but you have to start again from the beginning. And if you are unable because you are old, or you can't fast because of sickness, because of a chronic disease, for example, then the last one is to feed 60 poor people. This has happened during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A similar thing happened, and a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, "Halaktu ya Rasulullah, I am destroyed." So Rasulullah said, what happened? What destroyed you? So he said, I came upon my wife during the morning of Ramadan. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, go and get a slave and free that slave. So he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so he said to Rasulullah, the man, he said to Rasulullah, I can't afford. I don't have a slave and I can't afford a slave. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, then you have to fast 2 months. So he said, you see me, Rasulullah, I'm an old person. Subhanallah, an old person, but he still can. So, an old person. And I'm weak. I can't fast 60 days. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, then you go and feed 60 poor people. Give them food. So he said, Rasulullah, I don't have any money. I don't have anything. So Rasulullah, he came into some dates. Some people gave Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam dates. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, give the man. And he said to the man, now this date you feed the poor people in Medina. He said, Ya Rasulullah, in these 2 corners of Medina, you will never find someone who is more poorer than me and my family. So Rasulullah smiled and he said, go and feed your family with this tamar, which is an exclusive situation. Ala kulli hal, a unique situation where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam smiled. The punishment that we mentioned, which is specified punishment, actually not specified, it's unspecified punishment, because it is according to the judgment of the judge. This ta'zir is a punishment that is according to the judgment of the judge, and it must not reach the minimum of had, the minimum had, which is a punishment that is stipulated by Shara. This punishment that is stipulated by Shara, for example, if you drink alcohol, then you are to be lashed 40 times. If you steal, then your hand is to be cut, and so on and so forth. These are punishments that are stipulated by the Shara. So this ta'zir, it doesn't follow this. This ta'zir, it has to be the minimum of this, and the minimum is 40 lashes for those who drink alcohol. So we say for this punishment, it has to be less than 40 lashes, less than 40 lashes, or any other punishment. Maybe just a warning to the guy. Maybe the punishment could be an embarrassment to the guy. In some society, some country, if someone, for example, throws a sweet rapper trash on the street, then they will be asked, for example, to wear the cleaner's dress and clean the streets, and then their name will be published in the newspaper. So that is a kind of ta'zir. Also, it says, the next one, it says, وَيَجِبُ مَعَ الْقَضَاءِ الْإِمْسَاكُ لِلصَّوْمِ فِي سِتَّةِ مَوَاضِعٍ. Means it becomes compulsory it becomes compulsory in this situation with making up the fast, to abstain from eating or drinking, from things that break the fast. These 6 things: الإمساك للصوم في 6 مواضع. الأول في رمضان لا في غيره على متعد بفطره. الثاني على تارك النية ليلا في الفرض. والثالث على من تسحر ظانا بقاء الليل فبان خلافه. والرابع على من أفطر ظانا الغروب فبان خلافه أيضا. والخامس على من بان له يوم 30 شعبان أنه من رمضان. والسادس على من سبقه ماء المبالغة من مضمضة واستنشاق. Inshallah you understand all this. Inshallah we are going to explain one by one. Don't worry. So there are 6 situations in which it is compulsory for one to abstain from things which break the fast and also necessitate the making up of that fast later. Which means you have to qada, you have to make up the fast. And at the same time, today, you have to hold yourself from doing things that actually break the fast. Your fast, it is not counted, but you still you cannot eat or drink. These 6 situations, your fast will not be counted, but you still will be rewarded for your abstinence, not for the fast, not as fasting, but rather for your following the order that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you have to abstain from eating and drinking if one of these six things happen. And if you don't abide, you will get sin. For example, you have to, like what we are going to read, inshallah, you have to not eat or drink in these situations. You drink, then you will sin. But if it is regarding sexual intercourse, then you don't have to expiate, no kafara. But you still will be sin. You will still get sin. Number 1 is the one who breaks his fast with deliberate action in this month, in the month of Ramadan, and not in other months. Number 2, upon one who omits the intention at night for the fard fast. Number 3, upon one who has sahur, a meal before dawn, thinking that the night still remains, but it was not so. Number 4, upon one who breaks the fast, thinking that the sun has set, but it was not so. Number 5, upon the one who dawned upon him that what he thought was the 30th of Sha'ban was in fact Ramadan. And number 6, upon one who was excessive in gargling and in putting water into the nostrils, to such an extent that the water goes down the throat. The water goes down the throat. So these 6 people, they will have to abstain and they have to make up the fast. Number 1, all this is in Ramadan. All this actually is in Ramadan. Is the person لا في غيره على متعد بفطره على متعد بفطره. تمام. The first thing is breaking his fast with a deliberate action in the month of Ramadan and not in other months. So first of all, it is deliberate, it is intentional, conscious, knowing that what he's doing is wrong, and without an excuse. If he's sick, and if he is traveling, then we say he have an excuse, or he does not know, unintentional, did not realize that he was fasting. All this is not deliberate, so he doesn't have to do this imsak. He will still have to pay back, but he doesn't have to do the imsak, because actually his fasting is not broken. Tamam. For those who are unintentional or unconscious or unknowing, and for those who is with an excuse, then they have to make it up, but they don't have to do this imsak, which is to abstain from eating or drinking or doing things that actually breaks the fast. Of course, the person who does this intentionally breaks the fast without any excuse. It is haram. And Sayyidina Ali or Ibn Mas'ud said that even if he tries to expiate, he tries to pay back for eternity, for the rest of his life, he still won't make up for that fast. The only thing is just we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sins. If any of us actually missed a fasting intentionally, we only ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sin. In reality, there is nothing that can cover it up. Tamam. So a person should avoid doing this. And this is like we said in Ramadan. So if the fasting is for a vow, nadar, and then he broke his fast, even though it's intentionally haram. It is haram if you started fasting an obligatory fast. Any obligatory fast, whether it is Ramadan, vow, or making up, or kafara, expiation, all this, if you started doing it, you cannot stop. You have to finish, complete the fasting. If it is sunnah, then you can fast and you can break your fast if you want to. If it is only a recommended fasting. But let's say a person vowed to fast that day and then he just broke his fast. Now, does he have to continue and hold himself from not eating and drinking for the rest of the day? We say no. Same thing as making it up, making up the fast for Ramadan, for example, or kafara. Okay. The second is the person who omits the intention at night for the fard fast. So the first one is like a punishment because that person miss or break his fast without any good reason. So we say as a punishment for you, you have to hold yourself. The second one, he says, the second one, the person who omits the intention at night for the fard fast, well, he forgot to intend at night. Although, like we mentioned earlier, he should taqleed Imam Abu Hanifa in the morning and intend so that the fast could be sah according to another madhab, but not according to madhab Shafi'i. And the third one is the one who has suhoor, eats. The one who eats, in short, eats a meal before dawn, before subuh. But actually, he is thinking that it is before subuh, that the night still remains. But it appeared later on that no, it's already after subuh. And the fourth is the one who breaks the fast, thinking that the sun has set, but it was not so. The person, he broke his fast, and he thought it's Maghrib already. It's already sunset. But then he realized that, oh no, there's still some minutes. Maybe he was in a dark room, and he was sleeping the whole day until Asr. Then he heard the adhan of Asr, because the room is dark. He thought it's Maghrib, and he started eating. And then realized, oh no, it's only Asr. This breaks the fast, nullifies the fast, and the person who ate at this time, he will have to make up the fast because the fast is not valid, and at the same time he have to abstain from eating and drinking and doing things that break the fast until Maghrib. Now, and the fifth is that the one who dawned upon him that what he thought was the 30th of Sha'ban was in fact Ramadan. it was the 29th of Sha'ban. So at night, he did not intend. He thought tomorrow is 30th of Sha'ban. And when he woke up, suddenly they announced, look, today actually is the first day of Ramadan. So his fast is not valid, yet he still have to abstain from doing things that nullify, that breaks the fast until Maghrib. And then he have to qada, make up for it. Now all these, the second, third, fourth and fifth has nothing to do with, is unintentional. So why do we say you still have to hold yourself from doing things that break the fast? Because we say it is part of your own shortcoming. Why you didn't take extra, you did not become cautious about the time, for example. When does it start? When does it end? Also Ramadan, when does it start? So these are all because of our own shortcoming. Even though we say, no, look, I tried. But we say, never mind. Even when you tried, your ijtihad, your struggle to find out the time is actually not enough. So we say you have to make up the fast, and you have to abstain the rest of the day, and you are rewarded. There is no sin, because it's just a shortcoming. It's not intentional. Tamam. And the last one is وَالسَّادِسُ عَلَى مَنْ سَبَقَهُ مَاءُ الْمُبَالَغَةِ مِنْ مَضْمَضَةٍ وَاسْتِنْشَاقٍ. The one who was excessive in gargling and putting water into the nostrils, snorting water in wudu, to such an extent that the water goes down the throat. Tamam. So gurgling, madmada or gargara, and snorting water, which is istinshaq, is not recommended. It's not sunnah for those who are fasting. The people who are fasting, it is not sunnah for them to actually gargle, to excessive gargling. Madmada, yes, which is just to move water in your mouth, but to make it reach until your throat, which is gargling, you say, that is not sunnah for the one who is fasting. So therefore, if the person does that, then it is your mistake. We did not encourage you to do it. Why did you do it? So now the water enters your throat. We say your fasting is nullified. You have to abstain from doing things that break the fast the rest of the day, and you have to make up after Ramadan. Gurgling and snorting water is required if there is najasa. If there is najasa in the throat or in the mouth, then you have to wash it. And you have to wash it excessively. If you can't remove it just by simple moving water inside the mouth, then you have to use excess. In this situation, if suddenly, unintentionally, the water goes inside your throat, then it doesn't nullify your fast. Because you are required to wash it. Because there is najasa, there is filth in your mouth. So it doesn't break. And this is same, the hukum is same as showering for hadath. You have hadath akbar, you have janaba, you have to shower. Maybe you ejaculated sperm, maybe you had intercourse with your wife, maybe hayat nifas, so you have to shower. So if you shower, and this is not bathing, it's different. When we say bathing, which means you enter yourself inside the water. No, this is showering, which means you pour water on your head. Suddenly there is some part of the water entering your ear. Then that does not nullify, because you are required to shower. For the person who is fasting, it is recommended for them to actually move water, gargling. We say gargling, I think, madmada in Arabic, madmada. But and istinshaq also, which is to snort water during wudu, but without excess. So if he does the excess, it breaks the fast. If he does it without excess, it doesn't break the fast. by mistake, and he was just doing little bit, and then suddenly the water go inside the throat, it doesn't break the fast. And this is also same as bathing in water. Bathing could be recommended. Showering, bathing, ghusl, we say, could be recommended. Like say, for example, ghusl al-Jum'ah, the bathing of Jum'ah. But if you bathe inside water, then it is considered excess, and it nullifies the fast. If it's just showering, it doesn't nullify the fast. Okay. If it is not even recommended, like for example, you just shower because you feel hot, you just take wudu because you just feel like it, then even if it's just a little bit of malmada, it will break your fast. You're just washing your mouth, maybe you're tasting food. Tasting food is not recommended, but it is not haram also. It's not prohibited. So let's say before Maghrib, the one who is cooking, he or she tastes the food, and then by mistake swallowed that the food that they tasted, then it nullifies the fast, because you are not required, you are not recommended even to do it. Other than this, it is not compulsory to abstain. For example, a child who is have not reached the age of puberty, while not fasting. He did not fast that day. He reached the age of puberty. Do we say it is compulsory for him to fast now? It is not compulsory. Tomorrow you have to fast. Today you don't have to fast. And also you don't even have to abstain from doing things that, because actually it's not compulsory for that person. Same thing if the person who is insane wakes up, becomes sane. Do we say that it is compulsory for them to to abstain from eating or drinking? No, we say no, you can eat or drink. Or someone became Muslim that day. He was a kafir, and on that day he became Muslim. It is not compulsory for that person to fast that day, and it's not even compulsory for him to abstain the rest of the day. Or a traveler, musafir, he traveled, and then he reached back his country. Now he's not a traveler anymore. While he was traveling, he did not fast. Now when he come back to his country, do we say that it is compulsory for him to fast? It is not compulsory for him to fast that day. He doesn't have to, and he doesn't even have to abstain. He can eat and drink, because in the early part of the fasting, he was musafir, he was a traveler. Or a sick person, he became well, and now do we say, oh, you have to abstain now? No, you don't have to abstain. You can eat or drink until Maghrib, doesn't matter. But for all these people, it is recommended for them to abstain. It is recommended, but it's not compulsory. Same thing as hayd, nifas, the woman during her period, also for the woman who just gave birth, and the woman who has blood coming out from her after birth. These are all not compulsory for them to fast, but it is recommended for them to abstain, not fast, but to abstain for the rest of the day. If a child, however, reaches the age of puberty while fasting, from the morning, the child was fasting. It was not compulsory for the child. A child who have not reached the age of puberty, it is not compulsory for them to fast. But he fasted because his parent taught him to fast. So he fasted. Now suddenly he reached the age of puberty. Can I say, well, in the morning it was not compulsory, now it's compulsory, I think I want to break my fast. No, it is not allowed for this child to break his fast. Same thing, if a traveler who chose to fast, and then he reached his town while he was fasting, do we say that you can break? No, you cannot break your fast now. And a sick person also who chose to fast, he is allowed to break his fast, but he said, no, I'm going to fast. and he fasted, and now he became well. And he said, now that I became well, the first part of the day I was sick, I want to break my fast. We say, no, it's not allowed for you to break your fast now, because you're already, the excuse is not there anymore, and you are still in a state of fasting. So you are not allowed to break your fast. But for the child and for the traveler, the child and for the person who became Muslim, it is not compulsory for them to actually pay or to actually make up for that. It is not compulsory for them to make up for the day, because actually it's not compulsory at all. As I mentioned earlier, this abstinence is not fasting, but it is rewarded. And if you don't abide with this abstinence, then you will be sin. You will get sin. So any of these 6 persons, they refuse to actually abide by this abstinence. They go and drink. We say, oh, it's compulsory for you, but they don't want to listen. So it is haram for them. If a person, for example, did one of these 6 things. For example, he broke his fast thinking that it is Maghrib. Suddenly it is not Maghrib. Then he went to have intercourse with his wife. We say it is haram for you, but there is no kafara for it. You don't have to expiate for it. In short, these 6 people, they will have to continue fasting, continue to abstain from eating, drinking, and doing things that break the fast, and still have to make up their fast. Compulsory for them to make up their fast and abstain from doing things that break the fast. And these 6 people are the one who breaks his fast deliberately, the one who omits without excuse, the one who omits the intention at night, the one who eats thinking that it is still night, the one who eats thinking that it's already Maghrib, and the one who thought it was the last day of Sha'ban when actually it is the first day of Ramadan, and the one who during fast he did excessive gargling and putting water into the nostrils, and all this, if it happens in Ramadan. This inshallah concludes our lesson for today. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.